And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Shift. I'm your leader of the Shift Army, General Moses, back in the studio today. It's been almost 60 days, probably about 45 days, somewhere in that range. Thank you to all of our um, listeners, viewers, friends, fans who hang out with us here today. You guys kind of bared with me as I was going with my just not having the high quality microphone and camera. It just changes things when you do and don't have it. So thank you guys for sticking with us here. And now 2022 is off with a bang. We have some remarkable individuals here with us here today, to say the least. I'll paint some context and some storyline here in a moment, but first, I want to remind everyone to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. When you're done, right click, hit that copy URL, and then tweet it out. Go ahead and tag me, tag Cryptowriter. Let's get that link pumping and going and get more people in the doors in the building here today. As I mentioned, we got some awesome rock star folks with us. Though you guys know Jimmy D, so that's not a surprise. But make sure you, what am I going to say? Check out the links in the description. That's how you can learn a little bit about who we're going to be really having just this roundtable discussion with here today about NFTs, maybe some real estate. Again, everyone who we brought on here is almost as I still consider myself very much a rookie, but I was like, hey guys, let's just get on the show. Let's start talking about crypto. Let's start talking about NFTs and see where it goes from there. So, Jimmy, on my screen, I got you next to me. I know you can go. I could probably just hand the mic to you and you could run the rest of the show, the interview. But in like 30 seconds, I guess, just say what's up to the Shift Army, and then we're going to go to Beau, Chris, and then Teifke Real Estate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to be here. Happy to see where this goes. And, if it's boring, I'll just fall asleep and wake up in the morning.
All right. So up next here, you guys can see we got Beau De Paolo. Beau, I know him through a mastermind that I'm in, Raise Masters, the #1 mastermind for elite capital raisers. And Beau and I, that's how we met. We hit it off, talked about crypto and NFT. So Beau, I guess on that note, could you just share a little bit about your company, what you do, what you focus on, and then also, just kind of like your inception when it comes to crypto and wanting to know more about NFTs? Like, how did that start?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This is exciting. So I own several different businesses. One is fitness centers. I own a couple of fitness centers, and then I also do a real estate syndication company as well, where we buy commercial multifamily properties. And like you said, Adam, just the whole crypto space is very interesting to me. So me and you just started chatting about it, and I'm always looking for opportunities to find ways to invest. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
Love it. And then, continuing in that, I guess you could say, I was going to say clockwise, but it's really not clockwise. Up next, Chris Drzgya, coming to us from sunny, I guess you could say, LA. What do you do? And what is your blockchain and crypto story?
Yeah, I'm a commercial real estate professional. Do brokerage by day and real estate investments by night. And my crypto story, the short story is fell down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, and from there just blossomed into all the other, meandering rabbit holes that come along with it. So NFTs, DeFi, now Web3, metaverse, all that. So not the most technical savvy, but on my learning journey with the rest of you.
Knowing DeFi, knowing Web3, a lot of things that we mentioned here. It's funny because we probably all nerd out to this stuff in our spare time, but still literally 99% of the world has no idea what we're talking about. So you're in good hands and you're in the right place, guys. Alex, what's up, man? Actually, I want to say, man, it was a tie between you and Beau. Actually, man, now I'm trying to think who was the original catalyst of this happening. It actually might have been Chris, because we had to push this one out. So, but Alex did hit me up like 3 weeks ago. He's like, hey, Adam, like, I got to get into NFTs. Like, what's up? I'm like, we're going to bring you on the shift. So, Alex, could you kind of tell your background in a nutshell, and then also how you got into crypto?
Sure. Thank you, General Moses. Glad to be here on the shift. And I'm the operator here at Teifke Real Estate. We are a real estate brokerage here in Texas, and we focus on really developing our agents to get the most out of real estate for themselves, investing, flipping, ownership, wholesaling, as well as commissions via representing buyers and sellers. And we teach them how to make money in and on real estate. And how I got into crypto was I had to buy Bitcoin to bet on a UFC fight, and via one of those platforms. And then since then, I mean, I've been listening to crypto and studying it for a long time, but ever since I actually had to buy some is when I really dove into the technology and everything that I think it's going to do to shape the future of how things work.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So let's kick back, relax. And gentlemen, if any point in time too, you got to get up, move around, maybe go grab some coffee if you get some. I know Jimmy's got me a little envious right now, got the soju flowing, but it's also not 2 a.m. where I'm at. So maybe later today. But yeah, let's go ahead and break the ice, and we'll just do it with this question. Whoever wants to go first. I mean, what runs through your head when you think, blockchain and real estate or NFTs, and what are you looking to get maybe out of today's conversation?
I can answer that one, actually.
Okay, Jimmy, go ahead.
So it's funny, like I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've been in this space since 2017 when I lost my shirt, and then in 2020 I got it back again because the market always comes back. I'm kind of like real estate poor, but I'm actually like really proud of myself. I'm actually really poor, but I'm really proud of myself because like I don't live in the US and I have zero debt, right? And we live in this debt-based society, right? And like back in 2017, there was all this hype about like what you could buy with Bitcoin. I mean, if you wanted to buy a house from this random, weird, sketchy website in Italy with Bitcoin in 2017, you could do it. Does that site still exist? I don't know, right? Like, so the market's matured, and what I would like to see is the ability for people to be able to invest in real estate with cryptocurrencies. However, the problem with that is that like, how do I say this politely? You have two untrustworthy industries that are trying to come together and get people to trust them, right? Like, I'm not trying to knock real estate people, right? But we all know, like, other than lawyers, like pretty much everyone hates real estate people, right? Especially now in a market where like the world is crashing and the people who own real estate are the only ones that are actually doing well. Right? Like if you bought real estate 5 years ago and you own it in coronavirus times, you're doing really well. So I'm curious about like the value that real estate holds and how that could be applied into a digital asset in general. That's what I want to learn about today, right? Like I want to figure out a way to meld these two industries, because right now in my mind, the only two things that are doing well, the only two asset bases that are doing well are real estate in the West and cryptocurrency. Everything else is going through a massive dump, right? I mean, stock markets, maybe like some stocks are being propped up or splitting or things like that. But I'm just kind of like curious to learn more about real estate from the people who are involved in real estate, who are looking at crypto as a solution to be able to like continue the business in the 21st, 22nd, 23rd century. Does that make sense to all of you? Again, yeah,
I guess I was saying, like,
I'm a lovely person, and people I come across the wrong way sometimes.
You know what, Adam? I'm going to ask the question for the group. So this is perfect. That's why I wanted you up here. So yeah, if you guys have any thoughts running through your head. Also, I'm just remembering this too, guys. If you could get ready we're going to send some welcome presents to our guests here today too. So start taking a look at your Wax wallet. We're going to get to a point in the show where we give them some time to set up a Wax wallet and we can send them some gifts. But yeah. So Beau, Chris, Alex, any thoughts on Sensei Jimmy?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so. To answer your question, like how crypto can play into it, the fractional ownership side is really interesting. For a lot of our agents here at TRE, when we're teaching them how to invest in real estate and we're showing them, what's possible, it's a lot of people don't have 20 grand or 50 grand to put down on a deal. And so the ability to tokenize the real estate asset and make it accessible to people who maybe have $100, $500 to invest in a deal, and also provide that liquidity to them is really interesting too, right? Because we can't just go into our real estate account and sell some shares. And you could do that if it was tokenized. If you wanted to, exit out of the asset, get your money back, and move on to something else, it provides that ability.
Yeah, I mean the liquidity and the fractional ownership is key, and I think that the fractional ownership is a big piece, Jimmy, in opening up the access to this asset class for the masses. The third piece of it would be, what you can kind of refer to as the back office element, or the record keeping element, whether that's in the form of tracking loan information, or with various lenders, not just one lender, across all, tracking title with various municipalities, counties, whoever that may be. I mean, right now, that's one of the issues we have with the administrative component in our industry, is one of the largest barriers to entry, in my opinion, for tech adoption in our space, right? I mean, commercial real estate is an old man's game. It's a good old boys club. And, I've watched, all these different industries be disrupted through the access of technology, or through the adoption of technology. Why hasn't that happened in a comparable way in our industry? It's because you have a combination of institutional owners, and you have a combination of mom and pop private owners. Those two parties do not communicate. They don't want to share their information for a variety of reasons. So when you introduce the blockchain into this industry, it streamlines that entire process. Every phase of the deal, right? Loans, title, insurance, leases, capital expenditure projects. I mean, soup to nuts.
Bars. Hey, real quick too, I just realized we got to do some quick intros here, but Chris hitting the nail on the head there. And I think, breaking down the barrier to entry is pretty much the best way to summarize what Jimmy was saying, is how do we mesh these two together? And I want to continue snowballing off what you just shared, but we had some new faces pop in here too. And I just found out there was some background noise. So I just want to let all you guys know who are on stage. I just pretty much muted everyone. I think Beau, I gave you a green light. I don't think he's making noise right now, but so we've got Jimmy D's, if Jimmy D's Batman or Robin, then this guy Corey's the other one. And then I don't know who comes after Batman and Robin, if they had a young Padawan or whatever, but his name is Austin Lee. And Austin is also, you got Beau, Alex, Chris. I don't know. You guys might have seen Austin's face before. He has a podcast. I think he's done over 300 episodes, freaking Airbnb wizard and just everything. So Austin, how do I even put this? Austin has done some podcasting for Cryptowriter in the past, so he just popped in here. And now we got okay. So we've got a bunch of NFT and real estate people in here. I almost just don't even want to talk anymore and just let you guys just take over. So
here's the thing. Here's the thing in the fractional ownership, which I think is going to change the game. But what I'm seeing and what we're going to do with our fund is we're going to provide education along with that, right? So let's say you're getting in for $100. But you can learn from the best people in the business with Airbnb, and that $100 investor might turn into a $1 million investor 2 years from now. And so you can't just give them the fractional ownership and say, go away. You have to provide the community and the education along with that. And that's what I think is going to change the game, because one of my favorite things in the world is make sure that you're nice to everybody, because you have no idea who will be the next Zuckerberg. Right. And so, these guys, I think that's what I'm seeing. And you're 100% right, Chris. The commercial real estate and construction real estate are the most myopic systems I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's just like old political shit. They're trying to keep everybody out, and they're getting disrupted against. The thing that cracks me up the most is, why does it take COVID to do Zoom closings? how the fuck did that take so goddamn long? And now, like, you know, that's the number one thing we got from COVID, because understand that everything that was coming 10 years. It just happened 10 years earlier. And so you're only going to see those things change. And I'm really excited about where we're going. You know, companies like Alex's company, TRE, they're on the forefront of all this stuff with the education, with the multiple integrated businesses. So I'm really excited to see where we go. Now, one of the things that we're wanting to do, that I think would be wild, is if we had a meta universe short-term rental space. That shit would be fucking crazy. And I don't know where that is or what that looks like, but man, something tells me that that's going to be a thing.
I fucking know what that looks like, man. Like, what that looks like is what my buddy does in Vancouver, where he walks into an apartment and he does 3D space showings. Like, that could totally happen in the metaverse, right? Like, there's so much potential there, right? Like, if you have that potential. Sorry, I'm not supposed to talk because I'm not supposed to give away any ideas, but every time I talk to Austin Linney, I get new ideas in my head, and then it's impossible for me to not give them away. But anyway, go ahead, Austin.
Hold on. I do want to say, so Beau, Alex, Chris, if you guys could check out our private chat here, I just dropped a link in there. Just make sure you guys go, as we're going through here, and create a Wax wallet. Probably takes like 3 minutes. Once you make it, you'll get an address, and then we're going to share that Wax wallet with our community and get you guys some welcome NFTs. And also to all of our viewers, get ready, because I am just going to randomly drop some giveaways here in the comments. And we are live on Twitch right now as well. So sorry, Austin, go ahead.
No, you're good, man. That's my boy, dude. I tell you what, watch out for TRE. They know everybody. They're very dangerous. But Corey, in a world like, because we're gonna pop out of here, we have some business to take care of, but we just want to say hello to everybody. Corey, in a world like, Uplift, like, I think that we're pushing the boundaries of, like, we don't even really know, like, something that we talked about, like, what if my coaching sessions with my people was in a rowboat, like in the middle of the lake, like in the meta universe?
There's that. I was on a call with actually a pretty scary big organization last hour, talking about creating a cohesive build, getting hardcore real world architects in to come in and build like a cohesive thing to basically host an entire industry, which is kind of nuts. But when I was demoing stuff, like what a cohesive city build looks like, we were actually looking at 01 Capital's city build that they created. The first guy was like, and they know a bunch of people in Dubai. It's like, dude, this looks like Dubai. Like, yeah, we could build Dubai. Right. So big, small, sideways, whichever, we're going to be able to do those things. And having that experience while having that chat, our lead engineer, Dr. Wayne, when we first started this, he actually used to get into a boat and just go, right? When the world size was effectively infinite, he would just hop in and just start going around. So creating that digital sense of placeness is, I believe, the critical thing about the metaverse, right? It's not just Minecraft, or it's not just any whatever platform.
Yeah. You guys got to definitely just make sure you after we're done, follow up and connect with Corey, Jimmy, and Austin. I forgot how much of a beast Corey is. What's up, dude? And also,
how's it going? We're just like in this weird little moment where I'm buying the Uplift back from the corporation that started it, so it's fine. Everything's cool.
Whoa, dude. That's like a 7-hour Adam live conversation. So we'll just save that for another time. Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, it's a moment, but yeah, there's lots going on, and the real estate thing. Never mind the Uplift and the metaverse. I mean, I think integrating those and finding different ways to play around with that is how we should spend the rest of the year. But like tokenizing real estate, somebody mentioned in the comments. I've actually talked to Shintai about what they're doing, like setting up in Singapore and being able to fractionalize real world real estate assets, large ones, right? But if you could do it with a big one, you could do it with a small one. And figuring out the ways to integrate or offshore, frankly, to get around certain 3-letter organizations and their idiotic rules, right? Like that's going to be an essential part of any of this. And I would highly recommend looking at, like, it's one thing to tokenize it, to be entirely different, and there's ways that you can enhance the experience and the transparency, and the just the number of things that you could do with it by doing an NFT instead of a token.
Hey, so just a quick heads up, guys. It looks like something's going on with my browser. I think I'm gonna have to restart it, so I might dip out of here for a second. Do I dare leave the mic in you guys' hand? I don't
No,
know.
I mean, I got it. I got control
Corey,
of the show, and then
let's-
we all know how well that's
All right.
could
You know
go.
what?
Cheers, guys.
It's not a surprise that like all the crypto streamer guys are kind of like monopolizing the conversation. So I do want to get some more thoughts from like
100%.
So
Jimmy,
could you guys-
get all these guys for our show too, so we can continue this conversation. I want to hang out with these guys more.
Cool.
Cheers.
Well, on that, because I think I'm gonna have to reset this here. So Corey, why don't? Oh, okay. Jimmy.
That's all.
Jimmy,
It's all right.
take over for a second. I'll be right back.
It's all right.
reset
You reset it. So yeah. So for all of you guys here who are the real estate people, I didn't do a very good job at introducing myself, but I will introduce myself now. Corey, who you just met, we kind of started this metaverse. Well, Corey started it and I was along for the ride. And this is the Uplift world. And we're in Minecraft and we build out worlds, we build out experiences. We have our own YouTube show. We've been talking a lot about like real estate and fractionalization. And it's funny because every couple months, Corey comes back to me and he's like, that thing that you said that was like really dumb, like it might actually work. And like we've been actually talking about fractionalization. And this is an interesting concept to me, right? Like I think what you said, Chris, was quite interesting to me as well. Like I think with everyone being priced out of the market, especially in the first world, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I get the suspicion that like in Australia, in Vancouver, in the States, and a lot of these places that the market is being propped up by forces because people are making money and regular people, they're getting priced out. But the fractionalization of real estate actually allows regular people to get priced in. And I think that that's a really interesting concept because if you can own multiple properties in multiple areas across the board, then you can essentially, I think, maybe achieve better than what those people at hotels tell you how to become a good real estate agent, right? Like you can go across the board, you can go to any country in the world, you can go to any city in the world, and you can have the ability to have your hands in little fractionalized pieces of real estate. So my question to you guys is, what does fractionalized real estate look like to the average investor, right? Is there kind of a concept that you have, right? Because like most real estate agents, they'll buy a house or they'll sell a house and then they'll make a profit on it. But in order to be involved in real estate, you actually have to know real estate. You actually have to study. So when we put this on the blockchain, when we allow people to come in and go under people like you who might want to get into the business, what does this look like? Sorry, go ahead, General.
Oh, I was just going to say, also keeping in mind, so Alex is focused on I'd say mainly on the residential side of the business, keeping in mind Beau and Chris are more commercial. So they're more looking at like apartment units, industrial. Chris, you mentioned another kind of like commercial property that you're focused on earlier. So that's something that we tend to see, I think, in the commercial side is people assume that we're all real estate agents, and it's actually like, no, we're not. But yeah, so I heard you say something about real estate agents. I'm like, well, I guess actually Alex could probably speak to that the best. So what you got for us, Alex?
In terms of what does it look like for a real estate agent? Or
no, like in terms of like, so I think the fractionalization idea that Chris brought up was really interesting, right? So now you have a system where you can have real estate that's fractionalized. What does this look like to the average investor, right? No longer do you need to buy a property to be able to flip it or buy a property to be able to rent it out, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think in simplistic terms, it just means more accessibility, right? And how would you define the average investor? It also makes it easier to put deals together, and it should ideally make it easier to put deals together and to get money for those deals, right? And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of SEC regulations, and depending on how you set it up, what type of investors you're allowed to get in there. But I think what it ultimately does is, because you said, your average investor, and like, who is that? Is that me and Matt who buys, 4 deals a month? Or is it the person who's sitting next to me at the table who hasn't bought any real estate yet, but he's coming in here and he wants to learn and he wants to buy deals? Do we, are we the average investor the ones who can put down 50 grand every time we buy a deal to do it? Or is it the guy sitting next to me who says, hey, I got $2,000. How can I buy some real estate?
It's a really good question, because I honestly, until you asked that, I didn't think that, but I'd like to see everyone invest in real estate, right? I'd like to see every single person in the world have a few dollars in real estate. That makes sense to me. That's a market that's increasing. That's a market that's going up. That's a market that's holding its value, but there's no accessibility to the average person. So maybe the average investor isn't the right term. Maybe the average person is the right term. Everyone should be in on the ground floor, at least for $10, as silly as that sounds, right?
For sure. And I think it opens it up to them. And honestly, for TRE, our goal with it is to make it easier for us to allow all of our real estate agents to invest in deals with us. We want to, every deal that we buy, we want to source deals through TRE, and we want to offer these deals to TRE agents to be able to invest in them, right? And so instead of having if 50 people wanted to invest in one duplex with us, I mean, it's quite a lot, right? Or if we're buying an apartment complex, or if we're buying a mobile home park, or if we're flipping, some property, even just on the admin and accounting side, trying to make that simple for us, as opposed to 50 different JV agreements or creating a new entity every single time, and having 50 different members on the operating agreement. But being able to simplify it for us to be able to allow our community to invest in these deals with us.
Got it. I like that. And so is that would you say, Alex, is that pretty much what you and Matt are focused on accomplishing right now, is figuring out a way for your agents to invest alongside you guys? And also, if you guys saw, I just dropped it in the comments, Chris is now officially on the Wax blockchain, so send him some welcome NFTs. Beau and Alex, I don't know if you guys got a chance to do that. It's in the private chat, but I know I also just asked you a question. So Alex, continue.
That's one thing. So Matt and I both see the future of the blockchain and this technology and smart contracts. And so tokenizing real estate to make it accessible to our TRE community is one aspect. And then on the NFT side of things, we'd really like to introduce things similar to VFriends, right? So Gary V's NFTs. So at TRE, the ultimate title for one of our agents would be an entrepreneur. Imagine, let's see here, EN right here in front of the TRE, and then preneur on the other side of the TRE. And so once you reach this entrepreneur status, you've accomplished certain milestones. You've invested in real estate. You've done so much in sales volume. You've done this, and this, right? And then you receive this title. And so a goal would be able to have and integrate NFTs in our business and in our community to provide certain access or certain benefits, or for people to use it as a badge of honor that has certain things tied to it in the contract. And we think that would be a really cool aspect that we don't know a single real estate company that does that. Maybe you get once we're global, or on Mars with Elon, we have agents everywhere. Maybe if you have this entrepreneur NFT, we fly you down to TRE headquarters in Austin once a year. Maybe you get access to invest in certain deals that nobody else does. Maybe you get certain monthly coaching call with Matt and Alex, something along those lines.
I like it. That I think that is where the NFT aspect would play into things, because I know, Jimmy, I know it's the gamification of the whole process, which we didn't even really get to talk about, the Uplift and some of the other projects that you've been able to play around with that are kind of NFT driven. But before we get into that, I guess I feel like Beau's just been chilling this whole time.
I was gonna say that too. Actually, I wanted to ask about the commercial aspect of that too, right? Like, because we're kind of like the applications for commercial might be a little bit different, as you pointed out. You know.
Yeah, I might be completely talking out of my ass here, but let me play devil's advocate because, Jimmy, you kind of alluded to it earlier where the system is kind of being artificially propped up. And I agree. I mean, we're at negative interest rates, cap rates are continuing to compress. And yeah, you can make this more available to more people, but now you're also you're passing that risk on to those type of people, right? So when the market finally crashes, which it will, look at 08, it happened in the residential sector, and then I don't see why it wouldn't happen on the commercial side too. If you get all those people investing or into commercial real estate, I feel like, man, that's going to really hurt things because now you're going to have the government step in. They're going to want to make a bunch of new rules on how to handle all of this stuff. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the decentralized platform, right?
Well, I'm coming from a really interesting place too, because I live in Japan, and Japan is one of the few places where real estate actually doesn't hold its value. It actually, like the land value kind of holds, but like the building value depreciates over time. So when you look at it like from a North American perspective or from an Australian perspective, usually 100-year-old house is worth like substantially more, right? Depending upon the area that it's in. So I totally get what you're saying. I think maybe I might have misspoke. Like I don't have a problem with anything other than young people being priced out of the market, I guess. And so like I guess, from what, like, it's not only real estate either, right? Like it's education too, right? Like if you're coming out of school and you have $150,000 loan, and then you're expected to buy a house that like your parents paid $150,000 for, that's like $1 million, right? That's great for the old generation, but how do we look after the new generation that wants to buy real estate, that wants to have a family, right? And so I think I don't understand real estate enough and to be able to say
kind of
this,
why.
But I think like maybe the solution is to like have your feet in different markets, because like 40 years ago, Detroit was a great freaking place to be. But if you bought property in Detroit 40 years ago, you're completely screwed now, right? So like if you could have like property in Detroit, you could have property in Montreal, you could have property in New York, you could have this fractionalized property everywhere, then you can kind of mitigate your risk. Is that a crazy thing to think of? Like those investments could like bring you a return, which would allow you to have the capital to be able to settle down and put a down payment on a house in the area that you want to live in. Like, and so that's like really, really optimistic, but that's like what I like where we could like collectively bring up together all of those opportunities throughout the world and have it pay off in a sense that we could actually afford to buy a house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all makes sense. You're not wrong at all. I think you're getting you're getting your wires crossed because you're kind of blending three things into one issue, right? You have a manipulated market, right? That's one issue. You have your comment there on investor diversification, whether that's property type or location, and diversification, separate issue. Your first question is access to the market, right? Which is what the blockchain enables is, hey, if I have $100 or if I have $100,000, I can call Beau and say, hey, I'm in, I'm interested in your next deal. What do you have? Right. I think that's where it's, because once you solve that issue, that's the fundamental issue. Once you solve that, then you get into all the other topics that you're talking about, right? Manipulated markets, interest rates, diversification. You can go as far down that rabbit hole as you want. But before you can get there, we have to, the average Joe needs to understand, hey, I can go on xyz.com or blockchain and, invest my $150 into, this apartment complex in Austin. That's the issue. Has anybody invested or had any experience with some of the companies that are pioneering this space? Like, I mean, obviously we know Liberty, but Red Swan. I think they're actually based out of Austin. What's the other one? Red Swan and Cadre. They're out of Atlanta. More kind of backed by institutional money, but sorry about that. But they're focused on solving that first step. I personally haven't dove into it just yet, but that's kind of where I'm interested. Is, hey, how do I tell my boomer dad that he can go put $500 into Beau's apartment complex in Texas? That question is where the entire conversation starts and stops.
Yeah, I think like for me, I'm on the opposite side, but the exact same. Like I get it. I tend to put the cart before the horse, but like for me, it's like, how do I've seen so many real estate companies on crypto fail. People put their money into it and nothing ever materialized, right? Like, so
Yeah.
how do we bridge those two things so that there is that trust, so that it just doesn't disappear, right? Like, and I think that's a bigger crypto problem at the same point in time, but it's like, so I think, Chris, maybe you said earlier about, it's something that actually speaks to me, and it's completely off base from what you were talking about, but you were talking about like deeds and having these on the blockchain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about that idea is like third world countries that are war torn, because they come back like after 10 years and like all their land is gone, and it's like, oh, we own this land, and it's like, well, you don't anymore, right? So, but I think like there is like
using the third world country, but if you went to your local planning department, their record keeping would resemble a war torn country.
Oh, Jesus. Fair enough, right? Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of applications. I just like to be able to put them into the. Sorry, I'm a little bit jaded recently because I've had some shit happen to me in the last month that like I won't go into, because like there's 3 things that have just like really totally unnerved me. I'm in blockchain because of this decentralization, because of the freedom. But like now I realize why so many people in the real world aren't. Right? Like there's a lot of freaking shady people in blockchain that just like come in here because there is no regulation, right? And so like I get it, like when people want to like protect their investors, right? It's good to have like anti-coercion laws, for example, right? Like it's good to have like the ability to not just have a centralized authority that can do whatever they want, for example, lock your account, and like steal your money, because if you did that in the real world, you would be arrested and thrown into jail, right? Like at least the Yakuza has to play by the Yakuza rules. Does that make sense? Right? Like, it's a really weird scenario, but like business people understand what they're doing, right? And
which we all are.
I'm not, but
you are, Jimmy.
Yeah, fair enough. Business people business people understand what they're doing, but they're playing within the laws, and that's not always the thing with crypto. And what worries me about crypto real estate, honestly, and this is good for you guys to understand, but is if some company comes in and they say, okay, we're going to do this crypto real estate thing, and then the bear market comes and they rug pull and they just run away, and all of those investors, right?
They're thankfully, what Chris was saying though is there are some projects now that are coming out that, well, it's early, but just being able to rug pull on this side of things, at least with the companies that he just referenced, is really difficult, because even if there is a bear crypto market, unlike crypto, we're getting more into the security token realm where these digital assets are backed by something that's real, tangible, like an actual. I think Realty, I put it in the comments. Realty is one that I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it's them. There's some companies, speaking of Detroit, that I think was tokenizing homes that they were buying in Detroit, where if you bought their security token, however that asset performs on a cash flow perspective, that comes back to you through crypto or however they have it set up. But again, Chris was like, what the big question is, how do we go to the boomer generation and say, click here to invest in real estate, crypto, both, I think that's just why we got to keep talking here, because we
I
haven't.
think it's via education, and the more that it's talked about, and the more that it's practiced, and the more accessible it becomes, the more widely acceptable it will be. Like my grandmother, I'm sure 22 years ago never thought she'd be buying stuff to be delivered to her house, right? But now she can log on to Amazon. And nobody ever thought that they'd be buying stuff on the internet, or that it was safe and could be trusted. She always just went to the grocery store, but she still does. But she now can order stuff to her house from Amazon, which she does as well. And she trusts and knows Amazon because it's widely accepted. And there's a lot of it's 2022. Everybody buys everything online, and so I just think the more that it's accessible, and the more that people utilize it, the more accepted it'll become.
Yeah, I mean, you're the
Adam. I actually met a guy.
Chris
Sorry,
and then Beau.
Chris
and then Beau.
No, I was just going to say the example, the platforms that I mentioned previously. I mean, you're going through a KYC AML process there, kind of piggybacking off of General Moses here. It's not just, flying by the seat of your pants and they're going to, rug pull you. I mean, you're going through a fairly extensive, vetting process, if you will, to get into some of these assets. Sorry, go ahead, Beau.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, last week when I was at IREC, I actually met a guy that is, I hope I'm explaining this right, but he's tokenizing the shares of a company that's investing in real estate, so that if you want to liquidate quickly, since they're all on the blockchain, you can, and just sell those almost like stocks in a way, but it's not, to a new investor, which I thought was pretty slick. It's kind of like a step towards blockchain and real estate. Yeah, totally.
And I see Jimmy's mind going a million miles an hour. And I also see Futures Relic, who's been patiently waiting to say 2 words. So Alex, if you could just say hello and who the heck are you and where are you tuned in from right now? This is also a good person to just pick his brain on NFTs if you guys ever get a chance. So Futures Relic, can you hear us right now, man? I got you on mute. You want me to unmute you?
Talking to me, man? Oh, yeah,
good,
there you go. Hey, man, it's loud out here. I can't hear a thing. People are scraping the sidewalks. People walking with flags. People are happy.
He's in Ottawa, Canada, where they're trying to get to
pretty much anything right now.
Anyways, Futures, thanks for hopping on here, man. I know you've always just been a good, say, loyal face in our community, and we'll get you connected with Chris, Alex, and
Beau good, man.
after today's stream. So thanks for hopping on here, man. And if you want to keep showing us on camera what it looks like where you're at, you can stay up here as long as you want.
All right, I'll give you just a walking tour. I haven't been here all weekend, so here we go.
That's good, man. Maybe he thought he was still talking. Anyways, so this is what I want to know is Beau. I'll just go in this order: Beau, Chris, and Alex. The way this conversation started was like, "Hey, do you want to learn more about NFTs?" Like, yeah, okay, like let's do this. So, if there was like one big thing that you could learn or get some clarity on when it comes to NFTs today, what would it be?
That's a good question. That's an even better question, seeing as how, was it today or last night I read there was an article that came out that said 99% of the NFTs on OpenSea are fraud. So that's kind of scary.
Is that true, Jimmy? Would you say that many?
I don't know, man. I honestly, I'm kind of mostly in the wax and.
But I really like the DAO space. That's what I really liked.
In the Terra space, so I don't know. I don't know what that means. 97% are fraud. Does it mean that they're copyrighted images, or does it mean that they're not worth anything? I'm not really sure what that means, but I would kind of agree that a lot of NFTs shouldn't be worth millions of dollars that they are on Ethereum. I can say that.
Yeah. So, Beau, was that kind of tied to like what you wanted, which is just like, is it that fake? Is that what you wanted to know?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, that's a pretty 99%. That's a pretty big number to be fraudulent, and it could just be like a pyramid scheme too. You know, a lot of the DAOs are like that as well.
Mm.
Well, what makes it a fraud? I mean, like, you know, is it just artificially inflated up in price, and there's a lot of hype, and it's really not, you know, obviously maybe the demand really isn't there for it? Is that what you mean by fraud?
I think it's to what Ordonez is saying in the comments here too, which is
I didn't really
99%. That's pretty freaking high, but who knows? Like, we mint our own NFTs here at the Shift, and Jimmy's a part of projects that do their own minting. Like, the idea of copying and posting someone else's is just like, obviously people do it, but it's so far out of the realm of our thought process that it's shocking to hear, but who knows? I mean, maybe.
Well, and even on Wax, like we do most of our stuff on Wax, but even on Wax, I'm annoyed because I can't get verified, and I'm well known in the community. But the reason is that they refuse to verify photographs, because you could just pull a photograph from anywhere and you could slap it up, right? So yeah, I think that there's interesting things about that, but I think that when it comes to real estate or real world assets, like what Chris was saying earlier, if you can somehow tie that to a deed or a title, then like you could probably be anti-fraudulent. Does that make sense? Like, but you would have to have, you'd have to have an open facing community. You'd have to have some verification that like it's actually tied to that deed of that house or to that rental or to that apartment. I think honestly, like, it's probably more solvable in real estate than anywhere else.
If you guys know Sean, who's in the comments right now, he's the founder of Cryptowriter. He lives in Miami. He's also a full-time drug lord. No, just kidding. But I know, Sean, I know you're super busy, man, but I am going to give these guys your email just if they ever have any questions about getting into the space. Sean's one of those guys who just always gets brilliant ideas and creates success out of thin air. So
one of those brilliant ideas right here. Like, if you can figure out a way to make it verifiable, he's not wrong, you know?
Yeah.
I'll answer your question, Adam.
Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
So right now, personally, I'm in kind of a education mode with NFTs. The more, you know, I get to sit here with you guys and listen to you guys talk about how you're using NFTs, what the practical applications are, the more ideas turn in my head of how we can utilize them. And so ultimately, my question that I'm, you know, searching for is what's the best use for NFTs within what we currently do and what we're going to do. And then from there, I'll figure out how to implement it.
Yeah. I'd like you to, I don't know how, Alex, I feel like, Jimmy, we got to give him a crash course on Wax. What I personally like about the Wax blockchain compared to other blockchains for NFTs is, one, this is kind of where I, you know, found my friends, my voice, my community in the blockchain space. It's like, I can go live and hang out with some people at any point in time. It's kind of cool. So why not just keep building here? And two, compared to some of these other blockchains that were referenced earlier, Wax is very affordable to mint assets on. And so that's, you know, you guys, we were dropping some here throughout in the comments throughout today's stream, but we mint all of our assets on Wax, and we're just gonna keep doing it, keep hitting live, keep pressing go live and hitting record and minting assets and collaborating and just see what comes from it. But yeah, so that was a long-winded response, but Alex, basically, I think you should consider Wax. We just got to figure out who, not how. Who do we get you connected with? Chris, what's your one big thing? Because again, it was like, oh, you want to learn about NFTs? All right, cool, let's do this. Like, what are you looking to learn, man?
I mean, mine's not all that different from Beau. It has to do with verification. That's what it is. I mean, one of the, you know, the biggest, if not the biggest criticisms of NFTs are, you know, you're paying, you know, exorbitant amounts of money for a JPEG, right? And now people are, you know, surprised that, you know, there's all this fraud and you know, manipulation. Well, you know, shocker. So that would be my thing is how does the verification process work?
That's true. It's not.
I mean, there's a ton of other questions that kind of spawn off of that one, but keeping it high level.
Well, I know from experience so far the verification process, what it looks like, and I just got a notification here, Sean. We got a call coming up here in about 15 minutes. So we got 15 minutes left here at least of the stream, but I think the verification process, what I have seen so far, at least in Wax, where there's really not a lot of it, is a good community. Like there's a lot of people, Morton, who I'm looking at in the comments right here, also Kinyo, known as Aeon, Ordonez. These are all people who are so active in the space that if some BS pops up, also shout out to Burst of Energy, Noble Rabbit. If some BS pops up, the community will do their due diligence, check all the blockchains, see who is transacting with who, what came from where, and kind of validate it that way. So there is a verification process that is currently happening just by communities. But
what happens when we become as big as ETH, though? That's the
Right.
question. I'm sorry, like not to throw you under the bus, but like right, like.
And what happens in ETH? I would assume it's the same thing. Are communities kind of like calling BS on stuff, or is it just too big for people to handle, Jimmy?
I don't know. I think we need to separate. It sounds really bad, but I think we need to separate things a little bit. Like an NFT is an NFT, and everyone's buying to speculate on it, right? But if you're speculating on a JPEG, or you're speculating on the next big artist, the next big Van Gogh, or you're speculating on the next big area to live that's going to become the beachside resort, then they should be different things, right? And like going back to Wax, one of the things that I like about Wax.
Oh, actually, we got to say this too. Wax. I know recently Amazon is doing something with Wax just to kind of establish some credibility. It's definitely an NFT blockchain that's got some upside within the past few months. But sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, one of the things I like about Wax is you can actually back the NFTs with value, right? Like you can actually back them with a currency so that like when you burn them, you get that currency out. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm guessing if you could back them with a currency, then like what Chris was saying earlier, you could probably back them with the deed. And if you back them with a fraction of the deed, then on Nifty blocks, you can allocate where the profits go. You don't actually have to trust anyone. It can be baked into the contract. You can actually say, look, like I want 30% of the profits to go to this person, 30% of the profits to go to this person, 30% of the profits go to this person. So Chris, Beau, and Trey, they buy a house, and in order to rent that house out on Airbnb, you have to buy the NFT, and the NFT is time stamped. And when somebody buys that NFT, that 30% goes to a third of that 30%, that 33% essentially goes to each of their wallets directly, and they never have to think about it again. Right? Like, so this is kind of like an interesting idea that's baked into the smart contract of Wax that's not really there on other blockchains as far as I know yet. Right? But we're so small, like the general's not wrong. I mean, the community is looking after itself, but nobody's paying attention. But there's all of this kind of baked into the back end type of economy or resource potential that nobody else is really exploring. So I think like the general and I are sitting here looking at like Wax prices, and we're like, yeah, it's okay. We'll buy more because like it's probably going higher. Right?
I mean, to me, it's all about just the reason, again, why I would say I'm bullish on Wax is just because I know that we're here. We're not stopping anytime soon. We got a lot of people that we're friends with. Again, shout out to guys like Burst of Energy, etc., who have made a home here. And when you catch news, or you can look it up, it's something within the past 3 or 4 months. Amazon and Wax, and there's other big brands getting into Wax now as well. You've got projects like Alien Worlds, which, for some context, guys, Alien Worlds is a game, and there's probably more at this point that I'm just not aware of. But Alien Worlds is a game where you can literally go in there and play this game on the Wax blockchain, and when you earn the game's currency, you can literally take that currency to Binance and convert it to USDT or whatever you want to get on Binance. And just for games to be getting to that level where someone can literally go play a game for 8 hours and get paid by doing it is another reason. There's other NFT games and stuff out there like that, but just to know that Wax has some energy like that, it's just like, why not just keep hanging out here until it's time to, grow into another blockchain. So, yeah. Is that a good summary, Jimmy?
No, I mean it's not bad. I thought I
Future
was
Wallet too. That dude is a minting.
like
This guy, where is he? If you want to if you want a crash course on how to mint assets, this guy mints like 5,000 a day. You gotta tell him to slow down.
And he's one of my favorite people, by the way. Like, I have a membership from Future Relic, and I get to collect it like every so often, but like half the time I don't get there and I don't get the button. But yeah, like his biggest problem is like, I have too many NFTs. It's a freaking mess. I got to figure out how to optimize it more. That's
Alex, you tapping out?
Yeah, I got to get going. It was great meeting everybody.
Yep. Did you ever get that Wax wallet set up? I know it seems like there was some technical difficulties here. If not, I just want to make sure we get you some presents after the show.
I haven't, but I will. It's all
okay.
in the comments.
Yeah, just hit me up after the show, and Beau and Chris as well. If we weren't able to get that, we're gonna get you guys some welcome gifts. And
all right.
And yeah, so thank you, Alex. And then yeah, Beau and Chris, I know we're going a little bit over our scheduled time here, so we'll wind it down. I don't know, based on the last 10 minutes, were there any other comments or questions that were coming to mind for you guys?
I do. I have a question.
Yeah.
I kind of looked into developing some NFTs, to put out on like OpenSea or whatever. But I have no idea. I was going to hire a VA to design my idea and then all of that stuff. But I mean, is there actually money in doing that kind of stuff?
My take, and I don't know, Jimmy and Futures, you've seen this. It's almost like any other business where it's like you got to be willing to just put the work in and endure. Obviously, Sean's a good shout out to Sean. Sean's a good example of having a lot. He recently had a project that just did very well out of nowhere, but it was like his 10th project. So just living and enduring in the space, you never know. So I'd say, yeah, Beau, if you want to start minting make your own project, I would do it on Wax. Insanely affordable. And
I would agree with that. It really depends on what you want to do, because the amount of money that you're going to pay on Ethereum is a lot. And can you guys still hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
The amount of money that you're going to pay on Ethereum.
There's a bridge coming within the next year or so. Basically bridging. Is that right, Emmy? Jimmy? Is there a Wax Ethereum bridge coming? I feel like I've heard about it. Go ahead, Futures.
Yeah, Futures.
You're on mute right now, Alex. Hold on, let me unmute you.
That you'll be able to transfer. I heard that you will be able to transfer some Wax NFTs to Binance, to the Binance Smart Chain. I know the same is probably coming for Ethereum as well, but I think Ethereum is the gas prices are too high. And if you want to skip some gas prices on OpenSea, you're going to use something like Polygon or something like that. So that's what's coming, and it's funny, all of them that are coming as without gas fees or very low gas fees, they all are proof of stake, like Wax and EOS. So it's kind of all the same technology. So you can actually see those being on top as completely superior to any other, which are proof of work, which is like Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. And that's why they're doing Ethereum 2, because they're going to convert it to proof of stake, just like we are here on EOS and Jimmy and Wax. He just appeared right in the middle.
Yeah. So Beau, yeah, if you want to go deeper on that, I'd say we'll get you plugged into the Cryptowriter and Shift communities. Alex and anyone else who was involved, the other Alex who's maybe watching the replay as well. All the links are in the description. You can get connected with us there, but definitely let us know if you want to go deeper down this rabbit hole. We got the people and resources and connections you need, especially in regards to Wax. Chris.
Well, and I don't want to shit on Ethereum. There's a few projects that make a lot of money on Ethereum, but if you're going to play around, then play around on a cheap blockchain first.
That's right.
and understand the system, right? And then if people
Totally.
like your stuff, then branch out to Ethereum and make your millions.
That's right.
But like if you're gonna have to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars just to do your first mint, I mean, there's tons of people out there doing it, right? Like so get familiar with the space on somewhere that like enables you to do it for a cheap cost, and then make your brand, make your name, and then go over that. That would be my opinion. And again, like I'm not necessarily the right person to talk to. I'm a little bit biased. But.
Just real quick, Chris has to bounce. I want to say goodbye.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, guys.
You the man,
Right on,
Chris.
Chris.
Nice to
See you
meet you.
soon.
Send us your wax address. We'll send you stuff.
We will.
Working on it.
Cool. Sorry. So the soju was kicking in. I just had to get you.
Dude, I thought this was gonna be like 12 hours from now. This is why I said yes. I'm like I.
He only takes long shows now.
Well, I messaged you last night, and I'm like, it's probably like 7 a.m. in Tokyo right now, but we'll see what Jimmy.
Yeah, I totally like. I yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't. I'm glad I'm here, but I probably shouldn't be here. That's
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. So, yeah, I think we got a lot out of it today, and looking forward to kind of just rewatching this one and circulating it. So, Beau, and again, anyone who's with us here live, as you know, or on the replay, we go live every Monday from 12 to 1 Eastern. Went a little bit long today, but we are, as you can see, I'm back in my studio now, so we're back in action and ready to rock, at least for the month of February. Got some trips coming up. Beau, are you going to Denver end of the month?
I want to, but I don't think so. I got some other stuff going on.
Yeah. So we've got this type of show coming to you guys for the next month, and we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, we'll go around one more time. Closing, final comments, remarks, anything to close it out. We'll go Jimmy, Beau, and Futures in that order.
No, I'm just happy that you guys invited me, and I'm excited to see where this type of podcast goes, especially when I'm not on it to derail the whole, actual real estate conversation. But like, I just thanks for, playing my game.
I've been hijacking the place, huh?
Thanks for hopping on here, Jimmy. Beau, looks like, we got to get you connected with some people in the Cryptowriter community now. Any final comments on your side?
No, just thanks for having me on. This was awesome, and met a lot of cool people here today. So,
yeah, we'll definitely keep everyone connected. Futures, thanks for the tour. I hope.
Yeah, I hope you liked it, man. That was live outside with a bunch of trucks, man. It's a mess.
Hopefully they found Trudeau. I heard he went into hiding the day that I got back into Canada. I thought that was funny. I was hoping I'd catch him, wrangle him down. We won't go that direction.
We'll see him at Canada Day or something.
Yeah. Are you in your office now, or?
Yeah, I entered the control room here. This week I'm not working on the hill, but next week I am. But actually, I was doing something else. I was supposed to do some set lighting today because we're swapping all the old lights, like tungsten light, to LED lights, and that got thrown away because of this protest thing. So today I'm actually booming. I'm right now I'm booming audio. It's just I don't have any assignments, so I'm just on standby.
Nice. Yeah, Beau Futures is he's at the heart of all insanity right now, working at basically the Canadian version of CNN. So we wish him the
wow.
And there's the Canadian version of January 6th. Not really, but anyways, that's what they're passing it on as.
Right.
It's kind of like our version of Woodstock.
I guess so. It was a great big convoy.
Yeah.
Going through the night.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Well, hey, Kenyo,
all right, guys.
Or Aeon, I know I saw you in the comments. Thank you for hanging out with us here today. Reddish, Morton, Ordonez, some other familiar faces. Sean, I'll see you in 2 minutes. Big time in. What's up? On Keith. Thank you guys for hanging out here on The Shift. Smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. Check out all of the links in the description, and then go ahead and drop your wax address in the comments with the hashtag next level. You never know. It might just be your lucky day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Shift. We'll actually be back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern for an episode of The Shift Plus. That'll be the first one we do of this so far this year as well. Hanging out with Ross from Crypto Girl. I just remembered that. So 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, only on Twitch. Mark your calendars for that. But yes, thank you for tuning in. And as you guys know, remember, in all you think, say, and do take it to the next level.